Hey, it's Laura.
It's Amanda.
And we are Moms on a Mission,
where faith, motherhood, and purpose come together.
We're not just raising children, we're raising disciples, striving to make an eternal impact in our homes and beyond.
Here, we choose grace over guilt, progress over perfection, and God's truth over the world's noise.
Together, we'll encourage, uplift, and equip one another to walk boldly in our calling as mothers on a mission.
So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive into this journey of faith-filled motherhood. One step, one prayer, and one mission at a time. Welcome back to Moms on a Mission. This is episode 33.
33.
Woohoo! We're
any?
getting on up there.
We are.
Mm-hmm. In a few, we're going to be flirting with 40.
Yeah, that's going to feel real personal.
Right? A little too close to home there.
No.
You got a sports reference?
33. Let's go. I think Larry Bird wore 33 for the Celtics.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Gosh, he's good.
That's something other than baseball or football. That's just no, last week we referenced Shaq. That was a basketball as well. I guess
we even did his voice last week.
You did. I guess because it's basketball season, we'll stick with some basketball references.
Perfect. Well, today in this episode, we wanted to talk about, producer Daniel came up with an amazing name, preparing for resolutions in your next revolution. So while we are recording this is November 25th, 2025. And we're talking about how, when you want to prepare for the new year, the key word there is prepare. And not like get into January 1 and be like, okay, it's time to get ready for the new year. Baby, you're there.
Yep.
And that's my problem. I'm like, okay, it's time to get ready for the new year. And I'm in the first week of January.
And we're already in the new year.
Yes, you're already in the new year, which is fine if they're, it works out just fine. You may lose a couple of weeks and, have to tweak some things a little, but I have always wanted to kind of move that in my calendar a little and really start kind of preparing for that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Because one of the big things for me that really kind of hits me on, it always seems to take me by surprise, is the fact that the church usually does some sort of fast.
Yeah.
Well, when we do these fasts, we are like, they're usually kind of announcing it like, hey, don't forget, we're going to be doing a fast. And it's like 1 week prior to the fast. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I got to get my head ready for this. I got to get my pantry ready for this. I got to get my coffee addiction under control. Like I got to like prepare everything. The 1 week before it's not enough time.
We got to start now.
Yes. Yeah. Right now. Like today. And so I think it's a good idea to kind of think about and start looking at the calendar a little bit early and kind of go over, what do you really want next year to look like? And how can you prepare for it moving forward?
Yeah. So we talked about a couple of things before we started recording, and they may look a little different as far as, are you going to have a word of the year?
Yes.
Are you going to have a phrase, maybe a task that you are just setting out to accomplish, a goal? Mm-hmm. We did speak about goals specifically.
Yes. Yep.
And just kind of honing in on those and going ahead and making them now, or setting them now, so that when the new year rolls around, you've already got a little bit of a head start on yourself.
Yes.
To get them accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah. And you get all of that time too. And so I feel like I'm getting better at this every year because as the kids get older, I want them to look forward to their year as well and kind of decide what they maybe want some of it to look like too. And so but you kind of started to touch on the fact, Laura puts in her book something that she wants to speak into existence, which I think is brilliant. I love that. And so maybe that is something that you want to start off with, of something that you are hoping and praying for this year. you want to like go ahead and write that down, speak that into existence, get that into your mind, change your mindset so that you know, like, this is what we are preparing for. This is what is going to happen this year. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, which was super cool. And what you're talking about is I showed you that on January 1st of this year, I wrote down that we would start our podcast.
Yes.
And here we are,
Yes.
several months in. I said that I would selflessly serve this year.
Mm-hmm. And she has absolutely done that.
Really done my best, and try to even push myself outside of my comfort zone and intentionally pray for my friends and my family instead of just simply sending something along the lines of, thoughts and prayers,
Right.
sending love and prayers your way when I see that there's a need, like actually taking the time, sitting down, typing something out and sending it to them.
Yeah.
So that that it wasn't just a sending prayers,
Right.
like I actually did. And that has really pushed me outside of my comfort zone, especially at first. But now I feel like it just comes way more natural to sit down, throw something together, and to send it off.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I wanted to be more intentional about last year, now that you say that, I remember thinking, I'm real bad about like knowing somebody has something going on, and I might be thinking about them myself or, said a prayer for them, but I'm bad about reaching out and following up with them. Like, hey, how are you feeling? If I knew somebody was sick or their kid was sick, hey, how's your kiddo? Are they feeling better today? Or, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Is everything good? That kind of thing. I've tried to be more intentional about just making that contact and making sure that person knew that I was thinking about them. Because I was always really bad about that. I was always admired people that, they knew my kid was sick, and a couple of days later, they're like, hey, how's Abel? I'm
How's
like,
he feeling?
dang, girl, like you're on top of stuff.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that too. I try to be that person, but I also appreciate the fact that when somebody does the follow-up, the checkup, whatever, it's just, part of those, not necessarily always come from your 3 a.m. friends.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a quality of one of them
Yes.
is to check in, check up. And it's not hard.
It's not hard, not at all. And it really is just as much of a benefit for you as it is for them, because you're like, yes, I checked on them. They know I'm loving them, but it is something that you have to be intentional about because it doesn't come naturally, for me anyway.
No, and the reverse of that is like, I feel awful when I forget to do something like that.
Same.
Like, should have just sent a text or, following up with somebody a day or two later and they go into further detail about whatever the issue was. And you're like, oh my goodness, I should have asked before now.
Yeah.
How is everything? So fine line.
Yeah. And that's just there again, like maybe some of your goal setting and some things that, you want to look at this year are, what are some things I want to be more intentional about? What are some things that I want to follow up with friends. I want to be more intentional with my small group of girls, one thing we've kind of touched on at Momco before is, just being intentional with your friends. It's, we've got marriage, we've got kids, we've got going to church, Bible reading, all these things that we want to
work stuff.
Yeah. Business, job, money, and we want to include friends in there too. And sometimes, at certain stages of life, that kind of falls off sometimes because you just get so busy. So
it's not intentional.
No, not at all. But maybe this is a year where you're like, okay, it's time to kind of renew some of these friendships. I want to at least reach out to these ladies some more. Maybe I don't have enough time to go on a girls trip, but
how can I pray for you this week?
Yes. Just want to reach out and make sure we're still connected and that I, still love you.
Absolutely. Yep. So before we completely dive in, do you want to?
Oh, yes.
Want me to open up with our prayer?
Yes. Go for it.
We weren't going to forget. Okay. All right. I'll open us because you're evens and I'm odds, and we're on 33.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Lord, we come to you with grateful hearts in the midst of this holiday season. As life gets busy and our calendars fill up, Help us slow down and remember what this one season is truly about. We ask that you center our minds, calm our spirits, and root us in your peace. We ask that you guide our conversation today and let every word honor you and encourage every listener who joins us. Remind us that God is with us, not just as a Christmas phrase, but a daily promise. We ask that you be with us, speak through us, and draw us closer to you and to each other. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. So I have some notes. We talked about what you had said about kind of writing or, creating that thing that you want to speak into existence. Some things that, like, one big tip for me that I've been working on for the last couple of years is trying to put some things on the calendar to remind me to start preparing for things. So, like,
what are some examples?
Well, so, like, I have in here, like, I made some notes of some stuff, like, okay, what are we really looking at for like goal setting or some things that we want to, accomplish? Maybe it is spiritual things. Maybe you want to, have a Bible reading plan this year. You've done an awesome job 2 years in a row, gone through the entire Bible. That's incredible.
So I'm going to change it. I'm still going to go through it next year, but I'm going to change it up and do a different plan.
Yes. And see, I kind of need to get right with this. This is something that I want to even maybe take this year to get to work through, because I have not found a good thing for me. The
Bible plan?
Yes.
For the reading plan?
Yes.
Okay.
I have always had kind of this, since I was a kid, I've been very blessed to always feel very connected with God. Mm-hmm. It was a blind faith. And as I have gotten older and really tried to be intentional with my Bible reading, I have almost felt like it's pulled me further away from my faith than brought me closer to it. And I hate to say that, but the more I read and dig in, and I start to overanalyze things. I start to wonder, well, why this? Well, why that? I don't get that. Before I was like, I don't need to get that. I have faith. I already had the faith. I wasn't trying to build it. Now I'm picking it apart, mm-hmm. and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I'm not ignorant to the fact that all of the things that I've learned have deepened my knowledge. Like, I talk about all the time, this is our instruction manual. And I genuinely feel that way.
Absolutely.
There's so much stuff in there that I didn't understand, that I didn't know, that I had no idea was, you just open this book and it tells you how to deal with that. Like, I really believe truly in my heart that's what that's for. But as I start to pick at details, it's upsetting to me. I'm like, this is not why you're supposed to read the Bible. Like, You're supposed to get the benefit out of it to walk you through life, not to try to pick the scab. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
And that was how I felt. So this is a year for me that is going to be like, okay, how can we learn this and be intentional about reading and connecting with God without picking apart the details of, and, kind of chipping at some of my faith. I didn't like that feeling.
Yeah.
So that's something that I have to work on. It's going to be one of my big ones. Another one to work on is family calendar. Are there, you want to go ahead and get some things on there for the kids' breaks so that you can maybe do some trips and things like that. One of the ones I love is community impact. This is always something I want to try to get more and more into every year, especially with the kids. I want them to be out in the community, experiencing it, doing projects, but that takes planning.
Yes, it does.
And that's one of the things that I've put on my calendar of like, okay, like Veterans Day is a big one. I want them to do a Veterans Day project. All right, no problem. But you can't decide you want to do a Veterans Day project 1 week before Veterans Day.
Right.
Which is where I was at this year.
On November 1st.
Yes. So I, like, the month prior to, I put a notice on my, like October 1st, I was like, okay, let's start thinking about a Veterans Day project, whether maybe we're just going to attend something. Maybe the boys are going to do a collection. Maybe I don't know, whatever it is, but I want to be intentional about that. And same thing for, my boys have served a Thanksgiving meal at the senior center.
Oh, yeah.
Twice. And I loved that. And they loved it. It was a great experience for them. Last year, we didn't get to do it. And I was like, okay. And again, it was because I wasn't intentional with my time. I didn't schedule it in. It was kind of a last minute thing. I'm like, there's just no way we're going to make it. I don't want to do that this year. I want to make sure we're ready. We're with the group we know we need to do this with and be a part of that. So just that kind of stuff, like those kind of projects. Maybe it's fitness goals. Maybe it's money goals. Do you have a savings goal that you want to hit? Do you have a, maybe an impact that you want to make with some sort of a charity or something like that? Those are always great. Again, service projects. Do you want to take a big trip? Is somebody's special birthday coming up? Like, is it
Like
going to
a
be
40th?
Yeah. Is it the big 4-0? Like, do you want to plan for that? And then of course there's things like personal growth, your business goals, books you want to read, maybe a course you want to take. For adults, I think that's kind of a cool thing now is because there's so many options online.
Oh, for sure.
You can grab a course or two and expand your knowledge in something
about almost anything.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Like you can get an AI degree or certificate with a few weeks of some, you can go real deep in this, or you can just make sure you understand it, kind of a thing with a Google course.
Which is so wild to me.
Yeah,
social media degrees are still
digital
very
marketing.
Wild to me.
UGA does a digital marketing course that you can join. It's not cheap, but I think it's probably a really good course. Yeah. It's 10 weeks for $2,500 and it's all online. You do it self-paced, sign up, you get through it, as you want to. It's pretty cool. I've thought about doing something like that for my business.
Yeah.
So.
Not quite to that extent, but that was mostly how I got into photography and started learning the editing side of things.
Oh, cool.
Was I watched a ton of YouTube videos and did sign up for some, very short, not super, super in-depth, classes, videos or whatever on how to navigate through Lightroom.
Yes.
Because the very first time, I opened it up, I was just staring at a bunch of strange things.
A ton of buttons, a whole lot of buttons.
Sliders here and options and drop downs. And I was like, I don't know what any of this is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's how Abel feels about his camera. Abel's wanting to be a part of the media team, but he is so thrown off with the camera that he's got that he's pretty much given up on that. So I want him to kind of go through I wanted to YouTube educate him this year on, a camera course of kind of starting okay, we just opened the box. Let's get through the camera, that kind of a thing. So yeah, just things like that. Just
don't let him intimidate you though.
Yeah. Yes. Though. Yeah. I mean, all this and everything new is very intimidating, which maybe that's something you want to work on for the year is all right, I want to learn a new skill, or maybe it's this whole AI thing is killing me. I gotta plow through. Let's learn the basics, or something like that. I got a new camera. I want to learn how to use it. Maybe in the past I've experienced stuff like this where you're I bought this new thing, this hobby tool, or wanted to start this project, but then I got intimidated by it and I put it away. Maybe this is the year you learn how to
pick
do
it
that.
Back up. Yep. I agree. And I think that sometimes it's real easy for us to take January 1st as the reset date.
Yeah.
Which it is. It's easy. It's a clean slate, new year. Of course, some of the things that you referenced, it's when the gym is the most crowded.
Yeah.
It's when things start off, I think, with good intentions and then they die out. Which, what did we say? It only takes 9 or 10 days.
Yeah, you guys had a quitter's day that you referenced.
It's January 9th, January 10th, which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 365 days in a year, and it takes us 9 or 10 to give up on something.
Yeah.
like collectively, like that is just a drop in the bucket. That is so short of a time frame. So like one of the things that we try to tell the kids often is we're going to do hard things.
Yes.
Or do hard things.
Yeah.
You know, it's good for you. And so I feel like sticking with something for 365 days is not easy.
No, that's a super hard thing.
But it's worth it. And I don't know, just giving up after less than 2 weeks on something is like, that's terrible odds.
Well, and the thing is too, there is a specific amount of time. I can't remember what like studies show that it takes so many repetitions to create what one would call a habit.
It's 21 days, right? I think producer Daniel
21 days?
checked that before we started.
Okay.
So 3 weeks to create something as a habit and less than 2 to give up on something.
Right. So that tells you right there, you do not have a habit in place by the time you're ready to give up. So you have to push through. Like,
gotta keep going.
It will get easier. It will get better, but you have to keep pushing through. And I'll tell you, I have experienced this in the last couple of months. So I was super faithful with my Pilates for a really long time. I was doing really well. I have to be really intentional with like fitness and staying strong in my core because I have two metal rods, one on each side of the spine. I was told they were put in when I was 12. It was due to scoliosis. Okay, so if I was intentional about my fitness, if I kept my core strong and I stayed lean, my doctor was like, never fear. You will be fine. Don't let people tell you can't do things. There's like 3 things you can't do. They involve like jumping out of an airplane, riding a horse, and jumping on a trampoline. Okay. Other than that, you're good. Don't let people tell you can't do stuff. I'm like, all right, awesome. He's like, but if you lose your fitness, your core is weak, you're going to hurt. And he is absolutely right. So I've always tried to be intentional about that. But I mean, just like everyone else, it has to be very, very intentional. And I lose it a lot. Well, so I picked it back up in the last year and I was like, I've always done yoga. I switched over to Pilates, made me a lot more stronger core wise. I've actually started like being able to maybe enjoy like a little jog every now and then. Before I like couldn't even do that, much less enjoy it.
Right.
And I don't do it the whole time. I just, I walk, I've tried to be more intentional about getting my steps in, all those kind of things. Well, I like fell off the wagon and I was only doing my Pilates, maybe once, maybe twice a week for a little while. Within 2 weeks, I was like back to square one, like muscle wise. I'm like, how unfair is this?
Yeah, that's pretty defeating.
I mean, within 2 weeks of not like using it or doing it like really hardcore, it's like I'm like starting over
from the ground up.
But that's just the harsh reality. And it gets worse and worse as we get older. Like, the kids, they cannot do something and like keep their like little 6-packs, like for months. It's like
that doesn't last forever either, though.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that is true. It does go away if they don't, but man, so like all of these things, we all have to be very intentional about stuff because if you don't use it, you lose it.
That's right. And that is true.
Pretty darn quick, let me tell you.
Yeah. Which is very unfortunate.
Yes.
I wish that wasn't the case for you.
And I was so bummed. I'm like, man, because like, you go from full blown boat pose and Pilates, you're like, that's like one of the tip tops, like, oh, and then 1 week later, you're like, I can't do it.
But this is something that you have to sustain for. It's like a lifelong thing for you.
Yeah.
Because of the rods.
Yes. Yeah. That's why and I've been able to really probably the last 2 years, I was a little bit heavier than I had ever been, but I kind of lost a little bit of that. And I was like, and again, my back hurts so bad when I don't do that kind of stuff. And so I was like, all right, well, I got to do something. So, got back in the routine, whatever, I, was feeling pretty good. But now again, it's like
another reset.
Yeah, reset. So it's fine. It happens, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle for everyone.
Yes, I can definitely attest to the difficulties of picking something up and sticking with it and doing it. There's certain things, like I said, you have to kind of stick with this for your physical well-being.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm like, I'm going to be 80 doing Pilates.
That's right.
You just watch.
And you are. I'm confident in that. But then like the other aspect of it is like from a mental commitment, I'm sure that is both for you.
Yeah.
And then doing, whatever you choose to do, stick with something that you're going to create, routine, habit, whatever it is. I feel like it's just as much a mental thing as it could be a physical one. But sticking with something is just, you have to choose to do it every day.
Yep.
You have to intentionally make the choice to complete whatever the task is, whatever the move is today that pushes you further towards the goal down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's easy for a bunch of us to say that stuff is fitness related, whether it's a number on a scale, clothing size, whatever. Of course, we make those two go hand in hand, but it really can be anything. And, of course, I have referenced my going through the Bible several times at this point. Y'all, it's not easy.
No.
There's several days where I'm like, I haven't done that. I haven't read all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. I just want to go to bed. And this year especially, there have been a number of days where I've gone, well, I've really already read this.
Yeah.
It was a year ago, but I've already read this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope, I gotta keep the streak going.
Yeah.
I've committed to it. I'm this far in, I'm not going to let a day stop me. But gosh, it's just not easy.
Nope. No, it is not.
At all.
No, you
just
have
to be completely
pick that
transparent.
cross up every day.
Every
you have
day.
to choose to pick up the cross every day.
Yes.
No matter what that cross is for you, it is definitely a choice.
Absolutely. But it's been so, I cannot tell you how much I've learned in the last 2 years. It's just been incredible. But the other thing, you said like intentionally putting the service projects and stuff on your list, I think is a fantastic idea, specifically for Veterans Day coming up that you're going to target next year. But you can do it for anything, especially if you want to get your kids involved.
Yeah.
I had the amazing opportunity the other day to take Maddox with me.
Yes.
To the Banquet of Blessings, David Pollock's feast that he puts on for the homeless in the Athens community and surrounding area. I got to go last year, got to go this year, but this year was cool because I got to go with my oldest son.
Oh,
and
so awesome.
We stood side by side together on a line and we served, and he got to see firsthand this mass influx of attendees that are homeless. Mm-hmm. And so he got to, physically see what some of that looks like. You can tell that some folks got dressed up, cleaned up best that they could, probably put on their best outfit and came for the feast. Others just came as they were.
Yep.
And so it was, a very diverse group. And it was just so cool for him to see them, to interact with them. He was like loving on the kids, asking them questions, can I help you carry stuff to your table? And it was when we walked out of there, he was like, I almost thought that he was going to be like, oh, okay, thank goodness that's over with, because it might have felt a little uneasy or whatever, but he just walked out of there with like the biggest grin on his face, and he was just so excited. And he was like, Mom, that was so cool.
Yes.
And I was like, the fact that you loved serving those that are less fortunate than us was very cool to me, because you did it without complaint. You enjoyed it.
Yep.
It was a cool experience.
There's so much that happens inward and in the heart when they do that too.
1,000,000%.
If you allow the kids to really kind of see, like open the door to others' lives for them. I remember the first time that my kids worked at the food pantry, and we were there just to really start packing boxes. And so we were inside most of the time. Well, when the time gets close, the line starts forming.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my kids both of them like kind of popped their head out the door to look and see how many people were in the line. And they both came back and they came over to where I was standing, and they were like, "There's kids out there." And I was like, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're there with their families." And they're like, "Well, why are they here?" I mean, they had never thought about the fact that there's kids that maybe they know in school that have to come here to get food boxes.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer, because then they just kind of made something connect in there. Like, oh, I've never had to stand in line for a box of food.
Mm-hmm.
But this kid that I sit next to in school or I pass in the hallway, he does have to. And that was very eye-opening for them. And I think,
Yeah.
Handing someone over food and serving them in that way is just it can just be such an experience to make kids understand how privileged they are.
Yeah. And I think that it was eye-opening for him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, I don't know, my brain doesn't think this way, but I think the fact that he also realized too that like homelessness isn't limited to adults.
Right. Yes.
I think because he was like, there's bounce houses in here, there's a movie playing on the screen. Mm-hmm. There's, tables set up with coloring books and like, so that the kids had something to do in there as well.
Right.
And I think it was just kind of like we put 2 and 2 together, that it's not just limited to, an age range.
Right.
And so, but that was cool to see him interacting with the kids. And
I bet.
a bunch of them are pretty shy, pretty standoffish. But not all of them by any means. There were some kiddos in there had a great attitude and, adults alike. But it was just really cool to see him serve and be a part of it and to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I love it.
Yes.
But to see him love it was even, made it even better.
Yeah. One of the things that I hope to be more intentional about this year, I kind of have a soft spot for like the senior population, as far as kind of like almost kind of being forgotten a lot of times, and I love the groups of people that have taken that on. There is a group in our church that deals with shut-ins, and they do such cool work. And to be totally honest, I think senior work is hard because it's very time consuming in the fact that a lot of times a senior person just really wants to have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And so that can be time consuming. You have to have the time and take the time to go in and talk and have listen to their stories and things like that. And a lot of times we just want to rush through, pop that thing in that box and move on, And so some of the projects that I thought were, maybe kind of a cool idea would be just to do something for the senior center like once a month. Maybe, like I said, we've served food there before for Thanksgiving. That was a neat experience.
That would be cool.
Somebody, her name's Susan Gwaltney. She goes to our church. She's an amazing servant to the Lord and in our community. And she had seen a family that goes in and hands out candy the day before Halloween at the senior center.
Oh, okay.
So she lets the kids dress up, and then mama takes them in, and they go to each room and each person, and they give them a little Halloween goodie bag.
That's neat.
I thought it was so cool. And it doesn't affect their schedule because they still go trick-or-treating on Halloween.
Sure.
But they've gone in and just given some love to these people, and let them see
that.
a kid in costumes. And, I thought that was neat. There's other like maybe making little Easter goodie bags, or we actually are going to be starting a collection for this particular group for the shut-ins between Meals on Wheels and the shut-ins that she knows. We're going to do a little collection for them, just like we did last year. one of the things that they had on the list actually was baby dolls.
Oh, okay.
Because they can still, it's something to hold and, a little companion type thing. And it's just stuff like that I think is cool. And to get your kids involved in any type of project like that and let them kind of see the other side of things and get involved and give them some goes a long way in self-worth.
Absolutely.
I think that is it's just a great idea. So maybe, kind of putting maybe a project or two like that on the calendar for the year. I think that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, because if you haven't taken an opportunity to go and serve somewhere, I would really encourage you to do it. Because I think it'll do more for you and your heart than you would ever realize.
Yeah. And especially when you see your kids doing it.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh yeah. Game changer. Game changer when the kiddos jump in.
Yes. The mama heart. Oh
yeah. Cue the waterworks.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think being intentional, especially with them, and because our boys are getting older. And so being able to be like a pivotal part of the different community service outreach projects or, something that you choose to put on the calendar yourself. Like, I think it's in our tagline, we're trying to raise disciples, trying to be the hands and feet in Jesus. And so that takes intentionality, that takes, putting the plan in action and not just putting it on the calendar, but actually showing up to do it as well.
Yeah.
And, if we lead by example, I think they're bound to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, as you were talking, it kind of hit me too. Something that might be kind of cool is to pick a group or something that, the kids love and just do a project around that, like if they enjoy, if they enjoy a sport or if you kind of have a soft spot for seniors or little kids, or maybe it's kids in the hospital. There's a project that you can be a part of that they're waiting room bags. I thought this was really cool. One of the girls that goes to our church, they were just baptized recently. Their son was diagnosed with cancer and they're going through the treatments.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
They spend a ton of time in the hospital. And one of the things she said was so neat was that one time they were in the waiting room and there was a basket of waiting room bags. And it was snacks, warm socks, coloring books, playing cards, just That's stuff awesome. That either you yourself can just find something to do while you're waiting. If you have another kid with you, it's something that they can do to, help them pass the time. I just thought, I was like, oh my gosh.
How perfect.
What a cool thing. So maybe, just talk to the kids, see what's one thing that they would love an area they'd love to make an impact and put that on the calendar. So, but all this stuff, the whole point of this was that it takes preparation and, you might have the best of intentions and you might have it on your heart, but if it's not also on the calendar these days, it's not going to happen.
Yep.
So,
and if it comes and goes and it just strictly stays on the calendar and there's no, additional effort put into it, then, it's kind of a wash.
Yep. So just to kind of finish this up, I have some scripture that goes around this. This is not just things that our culture has made up. There is a lot of scripture around preparation and being intentional. And that was something that I had to kind of learn because I didn't know how much was in the Bible about being wise with your time, preparing for things. So Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." This means diligence now and abundance later, or equals abundance later. Planning ahead is biblical wisdom. Another proverb 24:27 says, prepare your work outside, get everything ready for yourself in the field, and after that, build your house. So in other words, make preparations first so that your work stands out. The order that you do things matters. Luke 14, for which of you I loved this one. I just read this recently. For which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost? I was like, ugh.
Gut punch.
Yes. Well, it's like he is this was Jesus speaking to the disciples. And he's like, well, hold up.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, y'all got the plan for stuff. What? Jesus literally says, sit down, think ahead, and plan.
Yep.
I mean, mic drop, it's like, okay, that's a very intentional, very clear scripture that came straight from Jesus's mouth. You got to plan, you got to think ahead. Of course, there's lots of things with King Solomon. He did not pray for riches. He prayed for wisdom. Part of that wisdom was planning things out, creating these things, having the vision, and then making those things happen from the vision that was planned. Mm-hmm. And I love that. So there's plenty more. And there's even a Habakkuk.
Your favorite.
Not Habakkuk. Mm-mm.
Habakkuk.
Habakkuk 2. We actually read this before. Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision, make it plain on tables, so he may run who reads it. Wait, what? What does that mean?
Read it again.
Write the vision, make it plain on tablets. There you go. So he may run who reads it. Write it down, make it plain, make it actionable. That's like what that means.
From your favorite book of the Bible.
Yes.
The couple that I have as well are commit to the Lord, whatever you do, and he will establish your plans.
Oh, love that.
Meaning.
That's like what you said last week.
Yep.
Don't do it without Jesus in it.
That's right. Or, asking what burdens am I carrying that he didn't ask me to carry.
Yes.
Is a prayer. But essentially meaning that we don't just make plans, that we surrender them. And you touched on this. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom, because biblical preparation begins with wisdom, not willpower.
Love that.
And I thought this was great going into, we're talking about going into the new year and preparing. Of course, I think his mercies are new every morning. And God doesn't just give new years, but he does give new mercies as well. Mm. And so to further go into what burdens am I carrying that God didn't ask me to carry? And when we're all entering these new seasons, some of the other things that we should be intentional with, pray about, are what guilt, shame, or disappointments do we need to lay down? Mm-hmm. What old habits or mindsets are holding us back? And what relationships or commitments do we need to surrender to God, so that we're not carrying these things into the new year? We can truly start with new mercies and a refreshed, clean yep. slate. So that this time next year, mm-hmm. when we're talking about this, we can say, where did we see God's hand this year? What prayers did God answer, small and large? Where did he grow us? Mm-hmm. But also, where did he sustain us? Mm. And so I think it'll be fun I look forward to looking back on what growth we've made over the next year.
Yep. I love that. We'll have to be we got to put that on the calendar.
Let's put it on the calendar.
We got to put it on the calendar that in December of 2026, we look back on the year and we review this episode so that we can answer those questions. Yep. It's going on the calendar, folks.
Mark it down.
Yes. All right. Are you feel good about this one? You ready to land the plane?
Yeah, let's land the plane. Let's land the plane and say, or let me ask you, aside from like the projects with your kids and stuff, is there anything that you have planned or thought about, or a goal, a spiritual goal, for yourself that you're going to aim for next year? One of the things that I would love to do to connect, I guess, myself with the Lord and with actually doing something intentionally, I want to get through and do the activities of the Prayer Circle book. Yes.
I started that book this year and I got through a couple chapters. it started giving instructions of like, okay, this, like, stop the book and do this. And it's about, the things that you want to pray around and create your own prayer circles. I want to intentionally create prayer circles around different parts of my life and do it intentionally. And so I want to get through that book this year. I want to, and do it, not just read it. I want to do the activities in it. So that's one of my goals.
Yeah.
How about you?
That's a good one. I would say that we started off, Maddox and I started off this year doing the Bible recap for kids, and we got a few books in, and he was like, Mom, this is just difficult for me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, well, I appreciate your honesty and not pushing through to do something that, you're miserable doing, mm-hmm. or you don't look forward to, you don't enjoy. So I think we might try to circle back around to it and do another, maybe even modified version. But to just be more intentional with the Bible study and learning aspect with the kids, mm-hmm. in a deeper dive, obviously something more on their level.
Right.
I'm going to go for around 3 of going through the Bible, but with a different plan this time. Mm-hmm. Because y'all, 9 months of the Old Testament and 3 months of the New Testament is rough.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to change it up a little bit, but still go for a third one. But I think just kind of a deeper dive into things with the boys, more accounts.
Yes.
Studying together and just kind of keep planting the roots in them.
Yep. Just keep planting the seeds.
That's right.
Absolutely. I love it. All right. So if you have some goals or some things that you want to be intentional about this year, or even maybe some projects, maybe we could team up with some people and get some projects done with like not just us as women, as moms, as families, but also like the whole family, like with the kids,
in the community.
Yeah,
something.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
If anybody has anything that they would like to do like that, or would like us to be involved in or talk about, we would absolutely be open to that.
Let us know.
Yeah, that would be really, really awesome. A 2026 Moms on a Mission project would be. How cool would that be?
Put it on the calendar.
Yes. Let's get some ideas and get something on the calendar. We would be more than happy to be a part of some of your guys' projects, talk about them and get our kids involved too. So if there's anything that you guys would like to do like that, reach out to us, leave us some comments, reach out to us personally. We would be more than happy to get on board with that.
Yes, we would.
Cool. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. We are moving into the holiday season. I think by the time you'll hear this, you will have already been through Thanksgiving. So we hope that everyone had a beautiful, wonderful, very
amazing,
grateful and restful Thanksgiving. And now, mamas, it's time to ramp up for Christmas.
Got to gear up and go.
Yes. Christmas season's allowed to happen at my house now.
Officially? Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by the time they hear this.
Well, that's true, because we'll be past Thanksgiving. But you got to remember, Gabby said it best. Thanksgiving's a day. Christmas is a season.
Yeah, well. We love you guys. You guys know that we cannot do this without our amazing producer, Stay Stoked Creative Co. You can find more about him in the show notes. And we are excited to move into the holiday season with you guys. We will see you next week.
We appreciate you listening.
Yes.
Be blessed.
See ya.